Very hard, yeah. Because also like the top players are insanely good.
Yeah.
And you don't get money for like, you know, top 10.
Yeah.
You have to get to the top 4s basically. Like if you play StarCraft, like seriously, like if you really want to take it seriously, you need to be making top 4s. And what in Europe, I have Clem, Serral, Raynor, Maxpax.
Yeah.
I need to get, and Hero Marine and so on, right?
Yeah.
But I need to get better than Serral, Raynor, Clem or Maxpax.
Yeah.
To be serious, right?
Yeah, just pick one.
Yeah, at least one of them I need to beat. Sometimes you will get 2 of them in your bracket to get top 4. It's like, and you need to be, you cannot have top 8. Top 8 is not good enough, so.
Hey, SE Historian here, and today we have on a face that any serious StarCraft 2 fan would recognize, Elazer. Miko has been a mainstay at the top of the European scene for years now, and we had a wonderful conversation ranging from his strong feelings on the EPT Masters formats, the state of balance, and so much more. If you're excited about this one, be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss out on future releases with other awesome guests. If you really enjoy what I do, consider supporting me on Patreon. Your support really helps. And now, without further ado, here's my word with Elazer.
Okay, so Elazer, thanks so much for taking the time today, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, finally we didn't dodge each other, so we can do an interview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely talked about it a couple times. And so, the customary question, how did you first get involved with StarCraft?
Oh, well, the thing is, my dad played StarCraft 1, and overall he was one of like the first people in probably Poland, because the computers would just come up like in the country. He would be one of the first people to like get a computer and get an internet. So he was playing those games like Warcraft 2, StarCraft 1. And so like since I remember, like I wasn't even able to walk probably, you know, but I would like look up and on the PC and there was like Warcraft or some other games like, I don't remember the names, like Settlers or something.
Sure,
like,
sure.
Super old games, Heroes 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just from start I remember like watching those games.
Was he aware of or into esports, before you started competing?
No, I mean, I had no idea there's something like esports until I started playing StarCraft 2. Like even I started playing StarCraft 2 and I still didn't know there's esports. It just, I was like maybe Platinum League. And when I played, like I would make so many friends online, like Polish players that are like same age as me, so like they were like 14-year-olds, and we were just like hang out on the chats, and just randomly he messages me, hey, do you see there's a tournament and like Polish players is in the final, and it was like Nercio in the Home Story Cup.
Yeah.
And so that was like the first tournament that I saw, and yeah, I thought it's super cool.
Yeah.
Then I started watching some YouTube videos, stuff like that.
Do you feel like it meant a lot to you and made you feel that you were maybe capable of performing at an international level to see somebody like Nercio at the top of the scene at that time?
No, at that time I had no idea. I didn't think about it at that time. When I was like Platinum League,
Sure.
But I was definitely like looking forward to grinding. I really liked. I was thinking about it all day, like that I would get like rank 1 in Platinum League, then it's Diamond, then rank 1 in Diamond. Just I love the grind, and I was progressing very fast. I never had at that time situation where I'm like stuck.
Sure.
It was like very, very fast, you know.
Yeah.
1 week I'm like top 16 platinum, next week I'm top 8, next week I'm top 1, next week I'm diamond. It's like super progressive, super fast.
How do you feel like you ended up making the transition between being like, a relatively like high level amateur to brushing, kind of moving into the pro level?
I guess Legacy of the Void, when that came out, that was like big change for me, because Heart of the Swarm, I remember, well, that's basically when I started playing tournaments and stuff like that, I think. I honestly don't remember.
Sure.
But at that time, I was like getting Grandmaster, getting a bit higher, starting to play versus the pro players. And okay, I mean, I had already some contacts with like good players, some Grandmasters. I joined like 80 Gaming, so I got to meet like Utermal, who was already a good player.
Yeah.
Some other Dutch players, because I went with my dad. Actually, we visited the Netherlands just because my uncle lives in Belgium.
Yeah.
And we did a road trip through Netherlands and stuff like that. And there was a DSCL. Like a Dutch LAN event,
yeah.
And my dad like surprised me, and he said like we were gonna go there, and yeah, and I met like all the players there. It was like super cool. I didn't expect it. That was my first LAN experience, but yeah, so that was cool.
That is very cool. So it seems like your dad was quite supportive from the beginning.
So that's the thing. He was very supportive. Even when we were on that trip, we lived in my uncle's house, and we would go, because we had no PC, but there was Challenger qualifier.
Yeah.
So we would go to a PC cafe so I can play the Challenger.
Very cool.
And yeah, but I lost that qualifier. I remember like I cried, I was so sad. But at that time, so I remember that was the time where I already thought I'm good enough, to qualify to like Challenger League and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we came back to my house in Poland, and next Challenger I think I qualified, and at that time I was like pretty bad, but I knew like I'm the youngest player in like Challenger League and stuff like that, so I knew I'm gonna improve much more. And when Legacy of the Void came out, I thought that was like the time where, for me it was like super big jump, because I was just overall, since I guess I learned a lot about myself, during the last years, and I know I'm a guy that just figure out stuff faster than others. That's why like in Stormgate Zero Space, I figure out stuff like super fast.
Yeah.
At that time I didn't know that, but when Legacy of the Void came out, I was like the first one to do a lot of strategies. And also I was mechanically better than most players. So,
yeah.
So
when you got into esports, were you surprised to see that there was so much support for specifically real-time strategy within Poland? It seems like there's a very rich history of Polish fans and Polish players being high level. Were you surprised to learn about that sort of stuff once you came into the scene?
I was not surprised. I learned about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm proud of being like Polish in esports. I guess like I just know, yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
that's what I thought to myself. Yeah, we're good.
And it's interesting, right? So I feel like in those early days, it was Nurchio, then it was Mana, who were sort of like carrying the banner for Poland in terms of being the best player from the region, and over time that became you. And these days, you kind of work together under Mana. Does that mean something to you that you kind of work closely with somebody who was maybe an idol early on?
Yeah, it's very cool that Mana is our manager now.
Yeah.
I did not expect it, a couple years back, but yeah, now it's pretty cool. And it's good to work with somebody like that, somebody that I know for so long.
Yeah.
He got to our role of manager. It's really nice. He still plays the game.
Did it mean a lot to you when you kind of got to the point in your career where you were undisputed, like the best player in Poland?
Yes, well, the way I thought about it was, at some point I had like the best results at every single tournament for like a year straight or something. So to myself, I knew I'm the best, and I knew I'm the best already for a long time before that. Yeah. But like if I look at it objectively, I think like Nurchio is very, very good, like super talented. So I don't say like I'm the best Polish player in the history. I think.
Oh, I mean like in that moment. Like history obviously is a different sort of conversation.
So I always think to myself like, Nurchio in the past was the best, and now I'm the best, and that's.
It's also a totally different game, right? When you're talking about the 2011 era.
It's different. Yeah, but at some point, obviously, I was the best for sure.
Yeah. So you said at some point, like, do you feel like that's up for contention now with the rise of people like Spirit?
I don't think about it. I still think I'm the best. Like if I look at Ligulak, it's like for the past 5 years, I'm probably in rank 1 for probably 4 years and like 8 months of that. Maybe Spirit surpassed me for like 1 month or something. But
he had a hot streak for sure.
Yeah, and he was playing very good.
Yeah.
Right now we have like a very big Terran map pool, and he's definitely on. He was always on the rise, and like basically he's like a slow improver.
Yeah.
Over time, he works hard. You know, so. I'm not surprised he's doing very well right now, but I also don't. I think like I'm probably more talented. Like I don't know. I think highly of myself.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. So your career has had an interesting trajectory to me, because I agree with what you're saying in the sense of, I do feel like in the beginning of Legacy of the Void and for the first couple of years of Legacy of the Void, you made a huge leap, and you were looking like pretty consistently like top 4 in Europe, like top 5 in Europe, like pretty consistently for quite a while, to me anyway. And obviously you still are performing at a very high level, but I think fans of you, like myself, thought you would take some like big titles and stuff like that. You looked like you had the talent, you looked like you still have the talent. What do you think has held you back from, obviously you're playing at a very high level, but from winning at the highest levels?
Yeah, I would say multiple things are on multiple levels. I think I was always hungry, like to win, to be the best. And at some point, first of all, I like won Valencia and stuff like that, and probably the hunger was less after that. So I lost some of that hunger, but it was fine. Like I was still wanted to like be the best. But another thing was that the rise of Serral was like at some point he was like the first player that I realized I just like cannot beat basically.
Yeah.
And I'm a guy that bashes the head into the wall. Like I will not give up ever. But like if you look at Aligulag, I'm the guy that lost like the most matches in the whole world to Serral.
Yeah.
Like nobody else lost more than me because I've tried so many times.
Yeah, around like 2017, I feel like you guys were trading reasonably well.
Yeah, but if from in my head when I played him, like I could feel like I'm not playing a human basically. Like he was so fucking good. I lost hope at some point, like to beat him. And when I lose hope to lose to that guy, like from that point on, I'm playing for second place.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I mean, it's a mind playing tricks on me, I guess, but it's hard to fight that when you lose so many matches in a row, like all the time you lose to him. I think like if I had to say one reason, I think Serral really like killed the spirit, like my spirit, kind of, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that's exactly how I viewed it as well. The rise of Serral, there was a major paradigm shift within the European scene because I felt like, you know, you were one of those guys that was vying for, you know, that elite spot within the European scene, and then that guy kind of just came out of nowhere and
yeah, he's sick. He's
yeah,
so good.
he really is out of his mind. And you know, like especially even like I remember like what you're talking about, this mind shift change. Like going into the Katowice finals, even Maru, like in the interview, was like, "Yeah, like I don't think I'm going to beat Serral, more or less." Which, like, yeah, you're going to lose, right? Like if that's your mentality, no matter how good you are,
exactly.
Yeah, like
no,
your mind is broken.
I get it. Like for example, people like Rogue Dark, they always say, "No, I think I can beat him. And sometimes they beat him. You need to have that mindset. That's the start. And sometimes I have that mindset. Sometimes like I practice hard. I have a mindset I can win, and I can take like. Even recently, I had a match versus Serral. Recently, it's probably like half a year ago, but I lost like 3-2.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, getting 2 maps, I was like actually close.
That's pretty good.
So, like it's doable for sure. But no, when he's on fire, like when Serral is on point, like you actually cannot win. Like the guy is a bit too. It's like playing versus Messi in football. You know, it's like it's a bit. The guy is like inhuman, basically.
How do you feel about the GOAT debate that's been flying around lately?
Well, in StarCraft, yeah, I think it's. I understand the, you know, I understand the talks. I think like Maru is by far like the best Terran ever, and I think he's like probably top 2 ever.
Yeah.
Rogue is in the conversation, sure, but like the thing, like if you're a pro player, if you ask any pro player, they're all gonna say Serral, and if they had to avoid like one player, they're all gonna say Serral because when you play him, the guy feels like. Not like 1 league better than Rogue, it's like 2 leagues. It's just like you're not playing a human, actually.
Yeah.
It's so sick. The guy doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, it's almost boring sometimes to watch him just roll over people. Like, it really can be. I remember I was talking to Yuna after his quarterfinals match versus Estrella in Katowice, and he really just pulled the guy apart. He was going mutas in ZVP and making it work, and he got off the stage, and I was like, you're a bad guy.
I've played all of them. I've played like Dark, Rogue. Like I know that they're really, really good.
Yeah.
But like Serral, when he's on like top form, so sick. It's just because like we could even like I understand the like Maru versus Serral the talks like who's better, but then you get this Katowice final where Serral just goes 4-0 and it's like zero hope for Maru basically.
Yeah.
And like that's what I honestly, because I was casting that final.
Yeah.
And I saw how Serral plays like semi-final and quarter-final, and I before the final I said my prediction, and I said like I think Serral 4-0 and it's not even close. And then we watch it and it's 4-0 and it's not even close.
Yeah.
The guy
it's.
And he's versus Maru, like.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, you really couldn't dream up a tougher opponent.
Yeah.
But moving away from the Serral Worship.
I'm the biggest fan of Serral. So
it's hard not to be. Really, 100%. And he's also just so funny, like very quietly funny. That's like one of the.
I like that he's like combination of both, like hard work and talent. You know?
Absolutely.
Because he also, it's not just that he's like the best mechanically or something. It's just like he always prepares for every series. he has like new ideas. For example, this like queen drop versus Terran that he does. He did it versus Maru. Like I think Eric did it before, but nobody, like he was the first pro player, like really top level player to start playing it and like keep having success with it. Like I also think of those things, and I'm like so jealous I didn't actually come up with this one.
Yeah,
because I came up with like a lot of strategies, but this one is so strong, and I didn't think of it. And Serral like also came up with. So I have like respect also for his like.
That's one of the scariest things in my opinion.
Coming up with ideas.
Yeah, because it's not only that he has like nearly perfect macro.
Decision making.
Decision making. He knows like. He's able to look at a group of units and make decisions as to whether or not he can make that engagement. Very like, split-second decisions.
Fast. Yeah, the best late game fights. That's the thing about him. Because late game fights are all about like your brain basically analyzing the situation and making calls fast. And he just does it faster than anybody else. So it's
and he's not afraid to mix in cheese. That's the thing. Is like when Serral gets aggressive, it's dumb scary because nobody expects him to really.
Yeah, I think he's not as good at like he's not perfect at everything.
Yeah.
I think he's actually not the best at like doing those cheeses. But yeah, he sneaks them in sometimes.
Yeah, and people don't expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, not really moving away from the Serral Worship. You know, one thing, obviously, there's been a lot of happenings within the StarCraft community recently. I think for the longest time, you know, there was maybe a bit of a negative mindset as to where the community was going over the years. Obviously, there was a lot of drawbacks and reductions and stuff, you know, from like the 2015 to 2017 era. But these days, you know, we're seeing grassroots events pop up, like the Chinese tournaments, in addition to this Bulgarian tournament they just announced recently, and then obviously all of the Saudi involvement. How do you feel about the overall state of the community as it is?
Well, it's a weird spot right now. Yeah, it's. I don't want to like sound pessimistic or anything. I guess it's like very nice. All the players are getting signed up, but we're in a spot where like the game is more dead than it was ever before. But at the same time, we're getting all the top players are being signed by like all the best teams in the world. And it's like weird. It's a weird situation for sure. I don't know how to think about what to think about it. It's somewhere in between right now.
In what sense
really
do you
weird.
mean the game is more dead than before?
Well, I guess like not a lot of people are watching it. Like less people than in the past. So it's hard to like I don't know what to say honestly here.
Yeah.
It's just the game has been like on the down for a long time, I think.
Yeah.
But the Saudi tournament, like it revived so much, right? Like all the teams are signing up players. The players are actually motivated because they want to qualify for $1 million tournament. Like the Saudi tournament revives the scene for sure. If the Saudi tournament was not here, like I don't know how it would look right now.
Yeah, how serious the players would be as well, right? Like,
yeah, because you can see GSL, for example, right? Like, are we even gonna have another GSL?
Yeah.
So like. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is a precarious thing, and obviously I think nobody really expected this sort of thing, right? Like in terms of the Saudi involvement. Like when we got the 3-year contract from ESL, that was pretty cool. Like that was the first time that we had an assured thing for a couple years, and you know when that contract expired, obviously there was a lot of questions, right? Like where are we going to kind of go from there? And then you know ESL jumped in at the 11th hour and announced all this new stuff and you know additional stops like we're here right now in Dallas. So it's I agree, it's a little scary because there's so many cool things happening, but it also feels like there's not the grassroots support that there was earlier on.
Yeah, it's very elite right now, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to Esports World Cup and life is good, but if you don't, then you know you really don't have too much to fight for. Like this tournament I'm playing right now, I had to beat Rogue, right? I was in a group with Solar, Rogue, Skillus. I advanced, and so far I have $1,200 won for like one of the 2 or 3 tournaments a year that I get to play. And now I'm in the knockout bracket round 1, which I'm gonna probably get like Clem round 1 or something. So it's not easy.
It's definitely very, very stiff competition.
Very hard, because also like the top players are insanely good.
Yeah.
And you don't get money for like, you know, top 10.
Yeah.
You have to get to the top 4s basically. Like if you play StarCraft, like seriously, like if you really want to take it seriously, you need to be making top 4s. And what in Europe, I have Clem, Serral, Raynor, Maxpax.
Yeah.
I need to get, and Hero Marine and so on, right?
Yeah.
But I need to get better than Serral, Raynor, Clem, or Maxpax.
Yeah.
To be serious, right?
Yeah, just pick one.
Yeah, at least one of them I need to beat. Sometimes you will get two of them in your bracket to get top 4. It's like, and you need
Not
to
easy.
be, you cannot have top 8. Top 8 is not good enough. So, yeah.
So, you know, speaking about this tournament, Dallas, you seem to have some pretty strong feelings about the design of the bracket, the seating, things like that. Explain that to me. What's bothering you about it?
Okay, I'm very passionate about it.
Okay.
Like most of the players that I'm friends with are. So the open bracket, I feel like, is insane in this system. Like in the past, the system was, we all thought it's reasonable, at least to play, because I understand why they do the way they do it right now, because they want to have top players playing from day one. You know, there's like winners bracket.
Yeah.
But in the past we had like group stage 1 was like easy, group stage 2 was all the open bracket players playing against each other, so it was already quite hard. And then group stage 3 was the open bracket players playing versus group stage, the guys that qualified.
Yeah.
So the guys that qualified didn't have like massive advantage, they just got to start playing a bit later. And honestly, group stage 3 was very often easier than group stage 2 because a lot of qualified players were, you know, they were from like America, from Asia.
Sure.
So there was a lot of like weaker players.
Yeah.
In there. So in the system, like nobody minded it really to play. But now we have the open bracket and the qualified players. The qualified players, they can lose 2 games, 2 matches in a row basically, and they get into the same spot as I am after winning 3 matches in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, are you serious? And if they win like 2 matches,
Yeah.
they get to playoffs already.
Top
so they
8.
don't, they skip 1 day even.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like the thing is, open bracket is already so hard, right? I get Rogue, Solar, Skillus in my bracket.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even talking about Mana, Shadow, right?
Sure.
So it's a stacked bracket.
Yeah.
And like I win this, and I get to a knockout round 1. In the past, you had to win at that point. Imagine that. At that point, you get to knockout round 1, and you need to win 4 rounds
To make it to the
to
playoffs.
make it to playoffs.
Yeah.
And that there is no loser bracket anymore. So even though I won right now 3 matches in a row, no losses, now I have no more second chances.
Yeah.
Now I play knockout bracket where they change it, so it's better, like because I guess they listen to the feedback.
Yeah.
It's still 3 matches that I have to play with no second chances.
Yeah.
And those are gonna be players that dropped from the winners bracket,
Yeah.
so they're gonna be the top players also.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's insane, and I think it's like completely unreasonable. Like it's completely unreasonable, I think.
Do you feel like the day of no games is a really significant advantage for them to relax and prepare and stuff like that, or do you think it's more so just that you have to win so many more matches?
I think the fact that I need to win like 6 matches in a row to get to playoffs, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's hard. Like nobody, StarCraft is a game that it's still, you need some luck, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody, maybe if you're Serral, right, you can win,
Yeah.
but if you're always gonna have like, you need to win 7 rounds in a row, like you're gonna drop out of most of them, right? And now I need to win 3 matches in a row after winning already 3 matches
Yeah.
to make playoffs. It's not
Yeah.
to win a tournament, it's like 6 matches in a row.
Yeah.
It's
tough.
it's a bit too hard. And then I need to win 3 more to win the whole tournament, so it's 9. I think in the past it was like, if you win 7 matches in a row, you're already like, you're cooking, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 7 matches
But,
is crazy.
but now you need 7 matches and you just get playoffs. So, come on.
So, do you feel like this is the general consensus among players?
Well, I guess anybody that looks at this bracket knows it's unreasonable if you know how it works, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a bit complicated. But like even my dad today messaged me like that. Whoa, I never like complained to him about it, but like he messages me like, what is this format? Like it's insane, no?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's insane. I know. And yeah, the open bracket players we know like it's insane. But if you're qualified, I guess everybody that knows this bracket, they know and have to play it. They know it's insane, but they do it. I understand why, you know, because they want to have good games from day one. But if they do it this way, yeah, I mean, they have good games from day one. So
Yeah.
it's nice for broadcast, I guess, but it's not very good for open bracket players. That's basically the consensus.
No, it makes sense. It is like, it also feels, I would say, weirdly anticlimactic when people advance to the playoffs on day one, because I feel like conceptually, as a viewer, you don't necessarily view like, okay, like this player won 2 matches, and now I'm not going to
Yeah.
see them for a day and a half. And like, it's such a huge advancement, but I don't know if that necessarily registers, you know, like from a viewer perspective, because you're seeing all these other games happening on the same day,
Yeah, yeah.
and how uneven the footing is not that obvious. I think.
And also I guess the thing is that, you know, the players that qualify, for example, from America, from Asia, like we consider them a bit weaker, like the European players, and we find it a bit unfair that we have to make like such a sick run, you know, win a bracket with like Bians and guys like this,
Yeah.
and then you know, the guy just lost 0-4 and we get to play him now. Like, it just kind of feels kind of weird
Sure.
that he gets that many points.
Yeah.
Just for qualifying from like Asia spot, he already gets so deep into the tournament, I guess. Yeah.
No, it definitely makes sense. So you've been representing Team Liquid for a while now. Did that mean a lot to you to get signed up, you know, to an organization with so much lineage?
Yeah, it meant a lot to me. And I was in a spot of my career where I knew I'm gonna be leaving AGO. And I felt like, the scene is not looking as bright. Like there was no like esports World Cup announced back then.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to still keep playing StarCraft, and I would probably keep playing, but I was really like kind of depressed with the state of the game at that point. And then I got approached that maybe I get signed to Team Liquid. I was like a breath of like, fresh. I don't know how to say.
Breath of fresh air, yeah.
But like motivation.
Like rejuvenating.
Rejuvenating.
Yeah,
I was like,
sure.
okay, it's cool now, and I was very happy to join Team Liquid. I was very, very happy. So much new stuff, you know, to start visiting them in Utrecht for boot camps and stuff like that. Meeting a lot of new people. It was very, very nice.
How's your experience been overall with them, you know, during the time that you've been representing them?
Yeah, so far, like we just resigned for 2 more years, so
Yeah.
I'm super happy with that. And
Yeah.
just positive experience basically. I mean, I'm very happy with how things are going.
Do you think there's a connection to these long-term contract extensions because of the existence of the club program in the Esports World Cup?
I don't know. I mean, I think Team Liquid it's like the only team. Like I'm so happy about it that they would be the team to sign StarCraft 2 players even if there was no esports.
And they were.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
I think they signed me before the esports.
They did.
was announced,
Before Gamers 8 even.
Exactly.
I think, right?
So yeah.
It's
I'm
like
so
3
happy.
years now.
Yeah. So it's so sick. Team Liquid is by far the best team. I think I really believe it.
Yeah.
I really believe it because other teams very often they get into esports just because, you know, there's money in it.
Sure.
You know, the StarCraft doesn't make money, let's get out. But Team Liquid really knows, you know, its roots.
Yeah.
They're always going to be investing in it, and it's great.
And they continue to support TL.net as well, which is really cool. And
For so many years.
Exactly.
Yeah, they really they have their values. They really
and
respect
it's rare to see. It really is. I think a lot of it comes from like Nazgul still being at the helm of things, and you know, like being one of those like early supporters, and I think he understands, and the organization in general.
Yeah, but it's also, I think it's a good business decision, honestly. I
agree.
I know you have to spend some money, but like you get so many like fans from StarCraft just love your team. Even just that, but the fact that you stand with your values is so important to so many people, right?
Yeah.
Like if, for example, I become a billionaire in the future, right?
Yeah.
Very randomly, like I will respect Team Liquid, like only Team Liquid, right?
Yeah.
And you get people like that, right? Like from Shopify, the Tobis, like that, and
absolutely.
You just get so much respect from a lot of people because of decisions like this.
And I think that's the fundamental problem that Blizzard ran into, where I feel like they were publicly viewed as a company that did stick to their guns and support their values.
Exactly, yeah.
And that kind of changed over the years, you know? Like they were the organization that was supporting StarCraft and putting StarCraft on a big stage, even when StarCraft wasn't making them hundreds of millions. But they knew that like there was a passion there, there's a fan base there, and so it's kind of worth supporting, you know, for that grassroots excitement. And they moved away from that.
Yeah,
you know?
It's such a good example. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't like Blizzard anymore. Like,
exactly.
So
The public
bad.
perception of Blizzard, they were the golden child of the gaming industry. Everybody across the board loved and respected Blizzard. Even if they weren't huge Blizzard fans, they knew what Blizzard meant. And it doesn't really mean anything anymore, you know? People's perspective is completely different because they aren't, you know, doing kind of exactly what we're talking about, like what Team Liquid did, just like sticking with what they know works, sticking with, you know, they know, like they were loved for a reason.
Exactly.
Leaning into that.
Yeah, they know they have so many fans that love StarCraft. Like, why would they go away from it?
Yeah. And the proof is in the pudding, right? At the most recent BlizzCon, they're on the main stage announcing all kinds of events that are happening, getting mild cheers. Some guy yells, "What about StarCraft?" And that gets the biggest cheer, like of the broadcast in that section. Like, StarCraft might not be, the size of League of Legends or whatever, or any of these other major games, but there's a dedicated hardcore fan base, and the people who have good foresight, I think, see that, and continue to invest.
Yeah, StarCraft especially has like hardcore fans.
Absolutely.
Like we make more noise than everybody else.
Yeah, by a huge percentage.
Yeah, so even at BlizzCon you can have 10 times more fans of World of Warcraft, but if they announce StarCraft, it's like the 1/10 of those people are gonna scream the same way as the World of Warcraft guys.
And I've also heard that a lot of people, I don't know if this is like your experience or if you have inside knowledge that supports or sort of rejects this idea, but I've heard that like the sort of proportion of viewers that subscribe and spend money on things like Twitch subscriptions and other things of that nature is very, very large for StarCraft relative to other gaming communities. Have you heard that sort of thing before?
I have no idea. Because, it's hard to say. Yeah. I mean, first of all, the American viewers, they definitely subscribe more and stuff like that. It's like much more, the culture of like tipping in America is just different. So, and I don't stream on American hours very often. I don't stream that much, so I don't know. But usually if you stream on American hours, you definitely get more subscribers. And yeah, honestly, I don't feel like you get more subscribers like on StarCraft than other games. But I don't know because I never stream any other game, so hard to say. I definitely, got a lot of subscriptions, so I'm thankful, but I don't think if you stream like Dota or something, I think you get similar amount. I think.
Yeah. Is there a specific achievement from the duration of your career that really stands out in your memory as very valuable, very important to you?
What do you mean? Like just
like a win or a series, anything? Is there any particular moment in the history of your career that just means a lot to you? Something you look back on?
I mean, probably the Valencia win or BlizzCon top 4. I have. Like if I think of it, like I remember like a lot of moments of those days. Yeah. Particularly, like I remember like before the series, I remember post the series, I remember where we went out. Yeah. Like I remember those days very clearly. Yeah. And it's just good memories. But
top 4 was that 2017?
It was like BlizzCon? It was before the Valencia.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was like BlizzCon, I think, and then I won the Valencia.
Okay.
So those times were, but at that time I was like much different person. Also, I was. Probably like growing up, learning a lot about myself and about like everything. So probably I didn't appreciate it as much back then. I thought that the wins are gonna keep coming. Now I look at it, I'm like much more experienced, and I'm like, those were good times. Winning that tournament like this, I would be. I was so happy back then.
Of course.
Yeah, it's so much different now.
Are there any particular losses that have really stuck with you for a long time?
No losses. They stick with me for just a little while, I guess. Yeah. I don't remember them.
Pretty good at moving past it?
I don't remember them.
Fair enough.
I forget about them. I only remember wins.
Do you think that's good for you, like psychologically?
Yeah, like if I think about it, I have so many games where like I completely should have lost, for example, but like I won in the end, and I remember all of them. Like right now, I cannot tell you. I don't remember any losses. I remember like a loss to Nib. I remember a loss to Raynor at some point. I remember like losses to like those top players sometimes, but like if I think about it, I've lost so many matches and I don't remember almost any of them.
Sure.
So I have like I don't know if it's what is it, but like I make my ego higher. Or
sure. Like. I mean, listen, like we were talking about with people like Rogue and Dark. I think maybe sometimes just maybe even believing more than your ability is kind of good in a sense,
right? No, it's for sure good. It's you have to delude yourself basically to think you're the best. I mean, honestly, I should just start saying it. Like I'm better than Serral. I'm gonna start winning everything. It's a bit stupid, but you should do it.
Like for example, Dark said that right at Katowice. They asked during those segments, right? They asked all the players like, who do you think is the best player at the tournament? Everybody said Serral. Dark said Dark.
I know you should do it. You just should do it. I will start doing it from now on. Right?
I hope I see it.
If you start doing it, people will look at you like you're stupid sometimes. But
no, but I mean, listen. At the end of the day, people are gonna like. I think it's good for people's career in general, probably, right? Like, gets people talking, like, like this guy said he's better than Serral.
I mean, like, for example, like I'm the biggest Serral fan ever, so I'm probably not gonna say I'm better than Serral, but I can say like I'm better than Dark or Maru. You know?
Sure,
Like,
sure.
I can start saying stuff, stupid stuff like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the state of balance right now?
Yeah, I think Protoss is busted right now. Well, it's just very bad for Zerg right now.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's pretty bad for Zerg.
What about the patch changes do you feel like is made it so bad?
So the maps specifically are terrible against Terran. So ZVT, I think, I don't know, maybe it's even, maybe it's a bit slightly Terran fair, but the maps make it insanely hard. And the way the veto system works in best of 5 series is that you're gonna play like one of those super imbalanced maps. Basically, like there's Cap, there's like Dynasty, there's not Post-Youth. There's this super short map. I don't remember. You probably also don't remember the names. Yeah, so there's like 3 maps that are just like almost impossible to win versus Terran if they're like equal skill level. Like they're so hard.
Sure.
So that makes ZVT, especially longer series, are so hard. And ZVP is just broken because we don't have Banings since the Baning nerf, and Baning was like the #1 unit that we had to use. So now we have to, instead of Banings, we have to play Lurkers. But the Lurkers don't really cut it, honestly, because they can. Lurkers don't even beat the ground Protoss, honestly. Like Protoss players think the ground loses to it, but if you split your army and you play for counterattack with your recalls and your storms that can like delay Zerg attack and overcharges, like you can delay it so much, you can counterattack. Lurkers don't really cut it. Broodlords also don't cut it. So we're stuck in a situation where we have to basically kill the Protoss before we get to like Broodlord Lurker because they don't cut it in the late game. But we also have to kill a Protoss that has overcharge, that has like Immortal Storm, and we don't have Banings, so we have to like roach all in them every game. but like, how do you do it? Like roach all in into like battery with Immortals, basically. That's what, and we're doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And something like we're trying to trick them in the opening. We try to like do some stupid Baning bust. We do. Like we just all in every single game.
What
basically.
interactions do you feel like the Baneling nerf is affecting the most? Like early mid game, like gateway armies, or?
It's a it's a 5 HP nerf. Plus they don't they don't one-shot probes on +2. So in the past, this like one-shotting probes was like insane timing, but if the Protoss played perfect, it was still not good enough back then, right? Because if the Protoss actually can like defend everything perfectly, then your Banelings don't go through and you will lose the game at some point. Right now, even if the Banelings go through, they still can win, and also they have less HP. So it honestly by itself, I don't know what interaction it changes because most of the shots are gonna be the same. You know, like Colossus is gonna like one-shot it and stuff like that. But in combination, it's gonna be different. So like Archon Splash plus 1 Stalker shot, for example, is gonna kill the Banelings. So a lot of those fights just go worse than in the past. In the past, it was pretty tight. People have very weird. They watch too many Serral games. That's what I think. They watch too many Serral games. They think like, oh, Zerg is completely busted, but it's like it's not looking like this usually. So usually when there was like Archon Immortal Storm, for example, army fighting versus Ravager Link Bane army, it was pretty close. Protoss winning probably 50% of those fights, or even more in the past. And now they win like 90% of those fights. So basically we come to the conclusion, we just don't play Banelings, because if we lose that many fights with Banelings, then we're just not gonna play it. And then we're stuck with Lurker because we cannot just fight with Mass Roach unless we all in.
Sure.
Yeah, so basically that's the consensus. You know, Baning, just Baning got nerfed a bit too hard. And it was our top 1, the most important unit in the mid game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
do you feel
it's like nerfing Marine. You know, it's like nerfing Widowmine, I guess. Yeah, in a way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you think it impacted ZVT a lot, the Baneling nerf?
For sure, but not as much as ZVP. Or I guess it's just ZVP is so hard compared to ZVT that it feels hard more in ZVP. But of course it impacted ZVT because 5 HP less on your most important units, but we got a compensation. Maybe that's what I should talk about, because Zerg was supposed to get compensation for it, you know? Like we nerf Baneling, but we get like Overlord drop is faster, we get Fangal faster, like Infestor starts with full energy.
Yeah.
But all those things that we got are nice compensation versus Terran, but they're useless against Protoss. Like faster energy on Infestor, and nerfed Fangal is actually a nerf versus Protoss. And we also got nerfed Lurker. Like people don't even notice, I guess. But
what was the Lurker change?
It was they burrow slower or something.
Okay,
like that.
okay.
Yeah. So we got like everything there versus Protoss and no compensation because all the things that we got in compensation was not really useful versus Protoss. Yeah. They're useful. Like I can say, like it's nice to have Infestor a bit faster with energy versus Terran, but versus Protoss, it's like we don't really use them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, shifting gears away from StarCraft a bit, you talked a little bit earlier about experience with Zero Space and Stormgate. How do you feel about this next generation of RTS games that are in development?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm looking because as I said, I think I'm like super talented at like figuring those games out, and I love new things like StarCraft. You know, StarCraft I like it, but the patches that I'm whining about, honestly, they don't change much. You know, the game is still the same all the time. So I'm after playing like 6 years of the same build orders, like I'm a bit bored of StarCraft. So
Sure.
Whenever there's a tournament, Zero Space or Stormgate, I compete, and I don't play it like for fun, but I like to figure the game out. I like to I strive to become the best at this game.
Yeah.
So I like it a lot. Yeah.
Do you see a significant future for any of these titles? Do you think that they'll be successful?
Hard to say. Yeah, I have no idea because, for example, I think Zero Space, for example, is a better game than Stormgate. But on the other hand, I think Stormgate has, for example, much better advertisement, right? So I think like if a game is gonna succeed, it's probably gonna be Stormgate. But yeah, I don't know. I have
It's
no
a very
idea.
cynical take.
Honestly, we know nothing, right? Like
course.
I don't even know like if Stormgate puts a good trailer out, like how many views is it gonna get on
Yeah.
YouTube? Like is it gonna be 1 million or 100,000? So
Yeah, it's a big difference.
I have no idea. I have no idea how big it can be. So
For sure.
they have like big plans for Stormgate, right?
Yeah.
Like massive plans with like making leagues and stuff like that. But like how much of it is gonna succeed? That sounds like they need a lot of funding. So I have no idea. If they can succeed with all of that, I would be sick.
Sure. Do you see yourself competing professionally in another RTS?
Yeah, for sure. I will try. Like I'll try in both Zero Space, Stormgate. Whenever there's a tournament, I will play it. Yeah, I've tried already 2 tournaments in Zero Space, 1 in Stormgate. In Stormgate, I got top 4. In Zero Space, I got top 4 and top 1. So not bad, but you know, I would like to do better even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's about what I have prepared for you. Do you have any closing words?
Not really. I guess shout out to Team Liquid, and yeah, it was a fun interview.
Yeah. Cool, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Get subscribed so you don't miss out on future releases like this one. If you really enjoy what I do here, consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the video description. That's all for now, my friends. Until next time.